I grew up in a suburban area my whole entire life, but one thing when I stepped in downtown Bridgeport was the feeling that I got. You know, everyone says home is where the heart is, and when I stepped here, I really felt there was so much heart. Heart within the history, heart within the people, heart within the infrastructure and the buildings. When I look up at the skylines, I see everything, what pays respects to what downtown Bridgeport really truly is. And you know, it's a crucial decision, choosing where to live, because you know, you go to sleep there, you wake up there, that's your daily life. So that's one thing that my husband and that's why we really chose to live down here. We own one car. He's a commuter, and that's, you know, we find so convenient. We live 1 block away from the train station, so I drive to work and he commutes to work. So that was kind of a winning choice for us also. There's people of all descriptions and backgrounds that live here, you know, young professionals that live here, that are coming in and out, even families. If you want to get down, we have cafes and family-friendly, purple, pink, blue, people from all different backgrounds, ethnicities, and it's just great, the culture, the people that really feed into the history and what I love to be immersed in.
When my husband and I moved to Connecticut, we really couldn't have gone anywhere because our children were grown. But we decided to move to Black Rock, which is a neighborhood in Bridgeport. And the reason we did that is because we were looking for a very friendly neighborhood place that had a central core to it, which is the Harborview Market. And we also really liked the fact that it had a lot of sidewalks and friendly people, lots of housing stock that was variable, single family and multifamily, so the demographic was mixed. And when we first came here, the thing that we noticed when we were walking around the neighborhood is that people were so friendly and would say hello to us, and even people that were sitting on their porches would, you know, say hello as we walked by, and it was so unusual and really reminded us of towns that we grew up in.
And when identifying key qualities and characteristics I look for when choosing a place to live, the very first thing that comes to mind is it would have to be a place of accessibility. Our options were limited to either a town that offered public transportation or had our essential resources located within walking distance. And we chose Bridgeport because you can get quite a bit done with a few bucks in a couple of hours. I'm a husband, I'm a father, but I'm also a businessman. Back in 2013, I founded a company called Fundias, in which we help fund ideas to life. And I was inspired to start this business by the possibilities in Bridgeport. As an artist, an entrepreneur, I help our clients take what they have to create what they need so they can have a successful venture. And Bridgeport is our buffet. All in all, Bridgeport is the perfect place to live and give, earn and learn, work and play.
Hi, my wife and I moved to Fairfield because we just like the accessibility of everything. 5 beaches, we could walk to bars, we could walk to restaurants. We also like the fact that they had a community theater. They had some, and continue to have some funky coffee shops, which are kind of like community centers, something kind of like the local Cheers from the old TV show. And it's a nice town too because it's got, at least for Fairfield County, some sort of diversity to it. There's a real mix of people in the town, so kids who grew up here do have exposure to different sorts of people, and it's just a great town in terms of the mix of the demographics, young, old, hipsters, not so hip, and that's why we've loved it.
I'm standing in front of an empty storefront in Clinton, Connecticut, of the kind that my staff have been working with property owners to repurpose as arts businesses as part of our placemaking efforts. Clinton's interesting because this community has really caught fire in placemaking. they're really thinking about how do you take the assets that this town has and make something even more out of it. Something that builds from its history but makes new stories, new places of making, new creative centers. It's exciting to see this blooming in this community, and it makes the point that placemaking can happen anywhere in Connecticut. In fact, there's 169 places where it will happen, or where it could happen. Where it will happen is where a community comes together like this one is coming together to actually make it happen. I'm here on Bedford Street in Stamford among two of Stamford's many sidewalk cafes. These sidewalk cafes happen almost overnight from a simple change in zoning. It's amazing what sometimes small things can do to make huge impacts on the vitality of cities.
So I'm here just up the road from where we were in Clinton, in Iverton at the old piano factory, where all the ivory that came into the country came through this place at one time. And I'm here with Evan Bloom, who's turned this into the warehouse showcase for irreplaceable artifacts. What he does is he takes objects from old places around the country and uses them to seed really soulful new places. And it's as cool as it can get for Connecticut to be a center of that kind of activity. Evan, you may want to talk a little bit about what you're doing.
Well, we've been reclaiming architectural ornament from buildings for 41 years. And we have a massive collection of great works of art from many works, artisans, and architects that are noteworthy from the past centuries or two, or even this century. And we're repurposing them, and we've been replacing them into new places like hotels and restaurants and people's homes, and creating themes for places of void, and we provide that and create character and destinations and create a lot of jobs and interest and unlimited amount of things.
We're working with Jane Philbrick and Steve Smith of Rewire to help us break the mold of how we redevelop the hundreds of wonderful old mills and mill villages we have in Connecticut. We need to make them a new place of making, not just condos and apartments.
I would like to directly answer your query about how to succeed economically without losing our soul. And what I would advocate very aggressively is that we have to be exceptionally economically minded. And where I think we lose our soul is when we sell ourselves short. And so, for example, and specifically to the Rewire project, we are making an investment in our community, and it is long-term, and it is it will emerge authentically, and we are not predetermining the outcome. We are looking to bring in practicing practitioners in industry, practitioners in research, practitioner in art and design, and let them be together and evolve the future. And that is an economic strategy. This is the 1 to 200 scale model that we created in our first year of the Rewire project. The first year was land use planning, and we produced for that this master plan, which is documented. We also documented our research and analysis for growth and investment in our communities, and we ran concurrent with our professional studio a schools program, and our young students from the Joe Barlow High School ran an atelier, and they recruited middle school and elementary school interns to work with us. So this model is shows the historic core of the campus. There are 5 existing historic National Historic Register buildings. When we were speaking before, we were standing right here. This is the Norwalk River. Here is the dam, which powered the mill historically. The weaving building is here. This is a small, pre-existing, currently existing building, which we have identified as a building for our farm. We want to do an urban farm on the campus. This is a building that we call the Market Building, and our hope is that our incubator programs around food and farming will populate this building with kitchen incubators and some small-scale artisanal retail, and also a mid-level, mid-range restaurant. This building over here, we call this the Blue Building. And this building is currently including as a tenant is Weir Farm. Weir Farm is the J. Alden Weir Farm in the American Impressionists. It's just been restored in Wilton, Connecticut, and their workshops are here. And this building we have identified as a schools building. The state has an initiative for more pre-professional involvement for upperclassmen in high school, and our hope is that this will be the 4 Georgetown schools, and then reaching beyond will be networked here and then involved in actual internships and studio assistantships on the working campus. This is the very famous Sawtooth building. There's been a lot of deterioration on the site, so we really look at this as a kind of highline model, which is to stabilize it and then create here a real social mecca for the community, a real place of congregation and exchange. And here in the summertime in outdoor space and in inclement weather, you can see this still has roofing, and this would be a marvelous building that's still in relatively good shape, called the 1914 building. It's very eccentric right now in terms of its shaping. I think it'll be a very beloved building as the campus revitalizes and becomes healthy. But I'm really interested in a working campus that is both creative practitioners and entrepreneurs, industry and engineering and
farming.
And farming. And the idea is Gilbert and Bennett was a model community, okay, of along 19th century utopian ideology, and it was never a social experiment the way in upstate New York there were sort of communes. It was a vibrant, healthy community because that was believed to be a good business model, and it still is.